giving a moment for some of you guys to come in as I just speak. Hello to everyone coming in alive. Hoping you're well. I'm on Facebook today. I don't normally come live on Facebook. I usually go live on my YouTube. So if you're in this live and you're not actually subscribed to my YouTube channel, that's where I put up the majority of my content. I've now changed the channel name to True Self Project, so go ahead and you can search that after this live, and subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the journey. So I just wanted to speak today and just express. No agenda, no plan, no structure, no nothing, just speaking. Something I've not really been able to do for the last literally this whole retrograde. And I did say I was probably gonna go silent for retrograde, Mercury retrograde. I just found it very, very difficult to be able to speak in a time where I was trying and still trying to process so much. These eclipses that's happened is literally happened directly on me or opposing me. So I've had to go through some very intensive, critical life challenges, and I've just progressed into my moon in Capricorn as well. So every time your moon progresses into a new sign every 2.5 years, you'll definitely notice some interesting shifts, dramatic shifts, major shifts in your life. And even just going back and looking at my progression through my chart up until this point, to this day, everything is just starting to make a little bit of sense. Doesn't make every sense, doesn't make the whole sense, and it's not supposed to. And that's one thing that I'm trying to allow myself to just accept. Not everything has to make sense, not everything has to be together, not everything has to be answered. Some questions take journeys. Those journeys takes experiences, it takes paths, it takes connections, it takes disconnections, it takes rises, it takes falls, it takes failures, it takes wins, it takes so many different things at the same time. And one of the things that I'm grateful for is that I just allow myself to go through those shifts unapologetically, no matter if it makes sense to anyone else, no matter if it makes sense to me. I'm just learning how to just feel the fear and do it anyway, even if it doesn't really make sense. At the end of the day, it's about putting one foot in front of the other. Sometimes we can remain so stagnant in uncomfortable situations. You don't like where you are, you don't like feeling where you are, you don't like your job, you don't like your relationship, you don't like this, you don't like that, but you're not going to take a step to take yourself out of it or take yourself through something to transition it into something completely different. You'd rather just be comfortable and just allow things to just be. And that's something I've made a decision that I'm not going to do. I made that decision probably back in 2012 when I really began to awaken to my shift. But it's just making me realize that we have to just really be so gentle with ourselves, really be so compassionate with ourselves, because as much as we like to be able to recognize our divinity, we are still human. We still have human experiences, we still have human emotions, we still have human thought processes, we still have so much humanity in us that is not a bad thing, and we like to demonize it. We like to demonize our humanity. We like to demonize when we express our emotions, when we cry, when we get angry, because they're not pleasurable emotions that we like to feel. We like to be able to, we want everything to be so harmonious and just so easy and so free flowing. But if life was just always like that, how can we learn? What are we learning? You can't really learn, because everything is just free flowing harmoniously. There's always a polarity that's going to bring some element of another perspective that you would have never been able to be exposed to. And so this last 2 months, 3 months or so has been probably one of the most radicalizing, crazy, overwhelming, shitty, amazing, don't make no sense experiences in my whole entire life. And yeah, I've kept a lot of it private for my own personal journey right now, in terms of still trying to process a lot of things that just didn't make sense. There's a lot of things that were just unexpected. There's a lot of Uranus transits right now. These things are unpredictable, unexpected, out of the blue. You're just gonna have to deal with it. And you know, that's what's been taking place. And so, but what I'm realizing is the rawness that's coming through. You've probably seen, some of you probably seen the rawness that's coming through, especially in how I speak and how I affirm my truth. I don't want anyone to try and distort or shape or whatever what I know is my personal truth. So, you know, people always like to be able to correct things and be like, oh, well, you should have said it like this and you should have done that. No, I shouldn't have done anything. I did whatever the frig I did. I said whatever the frig I said, because at the end of the day, that's my personal truth. And that's something that I'm learning to just be solid in right now, because society has made it so unstable in to just live in your truth, to just be in your truth, to just, you know, everyone's scared of being cancelled, even though that's how you feel. You may feel a certain way, you know, like, it's like, what the hell, like, why is everyone so concerned? Even this whole Will and Jada thing, I ain't said nothing, because at the end of the day, why is everyone so concerned about a relationship that you are not involved in? And I'm sure the majority of us don't have perfect relationships either. We just love to be able to project and you know, because, and this is why this whole Chiron retrograde, a lot of you are really gonna get slammed, yeah, because we like to be able to deflect our wounds onto other people, but this is a time when we can't do that no more. Everything's just gonna get thrown in your face. All of the thorns that you're hiding, like being awake, being conscious, whatever people would like to be able to call it nowadays, it has nothing to do with a lot of what people are making it out to be. You know, there is a certain level of awareness that you have to have about your personal reality and your physical reality, your environment, your you know, the things that are going on. But that's not being awake. That's not spirituality. Spirituality is so much more than that. Spirituality is being able to face every part of you, the good, the bad, the dark, the light, the bad, the ugly, the ugliest, the demons, the every aspect of yourself. You know, we've got things the wrong way round. We've become so externalized in, you know, everything is everything is outside. When we don't realize, and this is another thing that I've been really thinking about, is really we get frustrated for some of the situations that we draw to ourselves, or we enter ourselves into, and blame everyone else for it, but then don't take accountability for the other side of the pendulum. What attracted that? What part of you attracted this situation that you needed to learn to either put up some boundaries, or learn that you can't behave a certain way, you can't do certain things anymore? You know, it's the whole mirror, this twin energy is really pissing me off. It's great because it's revealing a lot. And this is why I don't judge anyone, because I have to look at myself. I have to look at all of myself in the mirror. Every time I get into a dispute or any type of weird energy with someone, I have to put up the mirror and be like, okay, so what part of me is attracting this person into my sphere of experience right now? What do I need to learn? What part of this person is irritating me that reflects a part of myself that I may actually project but may not actually acknowledge? And that's part of this Chiron retrograde, because Chiron is the wounded healer, and Chiron is the place that we can often, because this is the wound that we've accumulated within this lifetime. It's a wound that it was out of your control. That was a wound that usually from childhood that you experience, that you have to learn to grow from and heal from, and then you end up learning how to heal other people through healing yourself through that wound. But one of the things I noticed with Chiron placements and those wounds that we often have, we often judge people for the same reasons we got hurt, but we actually do the same thing, but don't actually share the same level of judgment to ourselves, because it's easier to deflect, it's easier to throw things out, it's easier to blame someone else. It's harder to look at yourself and be like, rah, shit, is that what I'm actually doing? Shit, is that how I actually attracted this? Shit, like, damn, part of this is actually my karma. Damn, like, and it doesn't even have to be that you've done something really bad, but there's always a pendulum, there's always a flip side to something. So, you know, and this connects to so many different things. Like, we've got this whole Capricorn stealing of energy that's playing up right now, and a lot of that is karmic. And then we've had a lot of this Cancer energy coming up, just bringing back a lot of stuff from the way past. Like, people just flinging up stuff, like people bringing up stuff that it's like, hold on, that was in 1901. How are we talking about this in 2020? Like, where are we going here? Like, I thought you got over that. No, you didn't, because that's still a wound, right? And these are the things that we actually need to be facing authentically, because we're gonna end up in wars with each other. This Chiron retrograde is happening in Aries, with Mars currently retrograde, with Pluto currently retrograde. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of strain, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of suppression. Nobody knows how to be able to navigate it mentally, psychologically, emotionally. So then what plays out? Just wars, because everyone's feeling the same thing, that can't actually have a level of compassion that actually that person may be feeling exactly the same thing, but because I'm so concerned about myself right now, my own survival rate, you know, it just becomes really crazy. With Chiron also, you can hurt other people the same way you was hurt, just to create a defense mechanism for yourself. Like, for example, when you look at some really intense Chiron placements in some charts, you'll find it in some rapists and some pedophiles and stuff, and you'll find that they were probably raped themselves. They were probably abused themselves, and so they go on to continue this repetitive cycle of pain and abuse and trauma. And that's the far end of the spectrum. You can have manipulation, you can have control, you can have hurtful words. You know, your parents spoke hurtful to you, so everyone else you're just angry with and you're just hurtful with, and you're just gonna sting them because you were stung. Just doesn't justify it. But when people do it to you, it's not okay. And so this is where these mirrors are gonna have to really, you're gonna have to really be honest with it, because this is where the real healing is about to begin, when you actually just can sit down and just be honest in all of that and face everything, every part. Like, we like to run away. Some of us are professional escapists. Pisces, no shade, more harsh Pisces placements or Neptunian or whatever. We will have an element of escapism in us, and it's I'm throwing out shade, but you know, it's all jest at the same time. We all have elements of this. We're the whole zodiac, right? There's elements that we express this in different elements of our lives. Some of us express this in our relationships. Some of us express this with our life purpose. You know, we run away and we escape from what it is that we know that we should be doing. You know you should be creating, you know you should be making your music, you know you should be making your YouTube, you know you should be starting your business, you know you should be releasing your book, you know you should be doing all of these things, but you run away. The fear of success. You run away and you stay comfortable in the things that you know that you don't like. And you sacrifice yourself and you victimize your own self in your own pain. There's no liberation there. And this is why I talk about victimhood so strong, because until I had to realize that victimhood was my wound. I have Chiron in Cancer in the 8th house, conjunct Jupiter, which I guess I'm grateful for, because listen, I wouldn't have known how to be able to grow from a lot of this stuff. This shit is weird, this shit is hard. But you have to be real with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Pain doesn't stop until you actually just face it all, until you acknowledge it. I have chronic pain syndrome, fibromyalgia. I put that in quotation marks because they still don't really know what it is, but it is chronic pain syndrome. So I often do struggle with my mobility. I often do struggle a lot of the time. I'm always in pain. It's just whether or not I can manage that pain. So I know something when it comes to pain, not just physical pain. And one of the reasons why I have this condition is because of all of the suppressed pain that I've had to suppress and keep and hold for a very long time. That just expresses itself through my body, and it's just in constant pain, and I'm having to learn how to process that. That's how I learned, that's how I became an artist, because even though I came from a musical family and we always had musical connections and stuff, me writing, me doing spoken word, me singing, me playing, even with my music, I used to just, because I'm a musician, I'm a keyboardist, I'm a pianist, when I just used to play certain things, some of you remember when I used to just put up all my stuff on my old Instagram and my old Facebook, those would be words in itself. That would be a language in itself. I would allow my heart to express itself through my art, through my music. That's the only way I could understand how I was feeling, just by writing spoken word. I have Chiron, I have my 8th house covering Gemini and Cancer as well, so that's where a lot of that comes from. And I also have an 8th house sun in Gemini. But that was important for me, because I needed that element of release. If I didn't have that element of release to just find some type of navigation process, some type of functionality, some type of, okay, this is what is all the entanglements inside. We're all focused on entanglements in other people's lives, not realizing we've got a whole heap of entanglements inside of our own lives, inside of our own hearts, inside of our own minds. Why don't we spend more time just focusing on that? That's all I'm saying, because the generations going forward, they don't have no hope if we don't actually take hold of this. I was having a conversation with one of my partner's family members the other day, and she's an awesome woman, and she's also been through a lot, but she's also, I find her very unique in the older generation, because I find a lot of the older generation just did exactly what I've been talking about, just getting comfortable, just settling and all that type of stuff in certain elements. She really went for it, and she really wanted to understand personal growth, understand mental health, understand all of these things so she could learn to heal. But one of the things that she kept saying that really hurt me was, I just kept going. I just kept going. And for me, that's a trigger, because even though a lot of us are strong and can be strong and can appear strong, we shouldn't have to be this strong. Like, this strong, especially black woman image thing, it's long, it's dead, it's out, it is so dead, it is so off key, because You're telling me you like being this strong. It doesn't feel good. It hurts. It hurts a lot of the time. So why do we celebrate a lot of these qualities? Like, we shouldn't. And the thing is, it doesn't allow us to be able to fully be in our feminine nature. A lot of us have become so masculine because we've had to protect ourselves a lot of the times. We've been the only ones protecting ourselves. So this hyper masculine energy of, you know, protection, survive, and all that type of stuff, alongside with our femininity, that ends up gets overshadowing. We can't really be. So there's a lot there going on. There's a lot to unravel. There's a lot that we need to personally be focusing on. And this is why I've been silent, because there has to take time where you just have to review yourself, right? But again, a lot of this externalizing of energy. Oh shit, hold on one second. Bag just going. All of this externalization of energy, right? Who is it benefiting? And that's another thing with Chiron. Chiron likes to be able, just like, it's interesting this whole Jada face come up, because that's often like Chiron. Chiron wants to be able to help everyone else, but then it won't actually share that same. See, let me share the story of Chiron. Chiron, he was a centaur, so he was half horse, half man. So he was a centaur, and he was the one who was creating all of these medicines and these poisons. He was the medicine man, right? And he was the one who was helping everyone else. He had a potion for everything, right? Everything he had an ailment for, apart from the wound that he had, the problem that he had. And that's the problem. We got an answer for everyone else, for everyone else's problem, for everyone else's issue. But our own issues, we still haven't even begun to unravel yet, to untangle yet. And that's one thing that I made a promise to myself back in 2016, I think it was, or 2017. I wasn't going to do that to myself anymore. I have to value myself more than anyone else, because a lot of us are trying to do this for our own sense of acknowledgement or being seen. It's trying to overcompensate for the things that we didn't have, for the lack that we had. But it's not often healthy, because who is it helping? Not you. And I keep saying the age of Pisces is over. This age of self-sacrifice, this age of martyrdom. You gotta have shit for yourself. If you ain't got nothing for yourself, if you don't have your own ground, if you're not self-reliant, like, and I'm talking to myself as I'm talking all of this, please don't think I'm talking at you. Whenever I do my videos, whenever I do my posts, these are streams of thoughts that I'm speaking out but reflecting back to myself. This is how I like to hear my own thoughts, or understand and get a bit more out of it. But yeah, like, let's actually really just focus on self right now, because I keep saying this mental health issue is about to intensify in a crazy way. And it's going to be a lot of our own faults, because we didn't do what was necessary to help him, right? I ain't going back in circles. Like, this whole period right now is the closing of a lot of doors. And right now the moon's in the last quarter in Aries, and we've got the new moon in Cancer coming up towards the end of this month. So right now it's thinking, okay, do you know what am I going to do different? What am I going to do new? What am I going to do? What? And this has to be radical. Radical change requires radical actions, right? You can't just expect change to just take place just like that. Change doesn't take place just like that. And this is what this Capricorn energy is teaching us. This shit takes work. And because a lot of us have got a lot of things easy, this is why a lot of us are kicking up a fuss like toddlers right now. Because it's not easy. It's not smooth. But who said it was supposed to be smooth? Who said it was supposed to be easy? And it was something that I got the other day. I put it up as a status, but it was so real. I don't think people like fully really deeped what I was trying to say there. But I was thinking about this, the statement, drop your idols. That's often what you hear from the Bible. Drop your idols. And it's all of these statues, and it's interesting because these statues have been coming down. Everything's in reflection, as above so below. All these statues, and we have a very carnal, very physical, external perception of these statues and idols from the perspective of the Bible. Let me just even speak about statues for a moment, or statues. What else do they call it? Ornaments and stuff like that. Like when people get like, you know, you're getting Isis or you're getting bust or whatever. The object itself doesn't hold the power. The object itself is a reflection of energy that you possess and you place in that. And when you it's all about intention. When you place your intention in an object, like for example, a lot of us have a lot of sentimental objects. I'm a very sentimental person. I'm Mercury in Taurus. Mercury could jump Venus in Taurus, so I'm very sentimental. Any type of object, I apply a lot of value to that object, whether it's something that a watch that someone gave. In fact, I've always had my godmother that passed away. She gave me this beautiful rainbow dog and this nursery rhyme book, and until my mum threw it away, I valued that so much. Even until she went, it was always a reminder of her because she gave it to me. That was her energy. Like, so there's that. But then it's also there's a flip perspective to that I was getting on. What I really was getting on was the fact that an idol is something that is actually an ideal. And now this was something that is interesting, that's just coming up for me right now, because these were revelations that were coming up for me back in 2017. And I was looking at all of these gods and goddesses, and you know, the Egypt and Mesopotamia and the Mayans, and all of these different idols and gods and goddesses and people that were pedestalized, if that's even a word, like put on a pedestal. I was thinking, like, how did we become gods and goddesses? And you know how I feel about this gods and goddesses thing, but let me just speak for context right now. I was just like, how did we become gods and goddesses? And I was like I literally had this vision and download that came to me, and it's people's expression. So if someone had a beautiful expression of love and creativity, and you know, they had a very motherly quality to them, then they would be deified Oshun. They would be deified all of the Aphrodite, all of those Venusian type archetypes. They would be deified but that was their language. Like they had their own system, they had their own language that they could express that. We have that today. We create stars, we create celebrities, we do the same thing. We say Jada and Smith, they're like the Isis and the Tsar, like the pinnacle of, you know, the black relationship and stuff like that. We do the same thing to people. So really it's expression, it's essence, and we all have the ability to express a different essence. It doesn't have to look exactly the same way as someone else, and this is where this identity thing is really going to come into this, because this is Chiron retrograde in Aries. Aries is identity, it's the self. Who am I? And look, we have this whole identity politics stuff playing out. Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, all of this type of stuff. Everyone wants you to force you into some type of identity label. This is where the real work is, where you can separate from all of that. I did something really weird. Like, if you see my profile picture on my Facebook, you can see that I've taken away my colour. I don't think that I'm cooning out for this or anything, but just hear me out when I do my thought process, because I remember one time seeing a vision of myself, and that's the colour that I saw, this kind of aquarish type, aquamarine type colour. And then I was thinking, hold on, a lot of the times when we're born, you come out that colour. Like, what is the colour before you're exposed to this world? It's this 3D matrix that, like, you know, puts you into a box of black or white or whatever we have to label it, right? And I was like, yeah, because we're actually amphibious beings. You're a flipping tadpole from before you're human. Like, all of these like different things, it's just weird. And it's just like, I'm just me. I'm just me. Like, who was I before the world wanted to put labels on me, before the world shaped my perception? And a lot of those perceptions came through, I spoke about this before on my Facebook, through religion, because I came from a quite harsh religious background. So a lot of my ideologies, a lot of my ideals, a lot of my you know, fundamental values came from that influence. And now growing and finding some of these don't resonate with me anymore, and some of these actually create quite intense conflict with me. It's now trying to find this new ground that there's no reference point for. No one else has created this before. Like, and this is why it's hard to explain. It's hard for you to fully just express that authentically, because people are still going to be like, well, what box is it in? And it's like, well, why does it have to be in a box? Why can't it just be as it is, just as I'm myself? Hi, just me. Like, there's so many levels to it. And I'm just finding myself just filtering through and flittering through. Wow, okay, that was a bad drop. Just flowing, just allow myself to flow. This North Node in Gemini is mutable energy, is flow, right? There is, if you think like, this is why people find it very hard to understand Gemini energy, because it can be very contradictory at times. That's because there's always two sides, right? Like, if you think it's going to be one way, there's always another side, there's always another way, there's always another avenue, there's always another something. It's just allowing all to be without my judgment, without my need to box it, without anyone's need to box it. And I don't even know if any of this is making any sense. I'm going to go and read through some of these comments in a bit. Hello to everyone coming in right now. But yeah, I'm just flowing off my heart right now, and just all of the things that don't make sense but trying to make sense. So let me know, anyone who resonates with what I'm saying. Lacey says, I needed to come to this live right now. I'm sitting in a field feeling like I could kill someone. Really, girl, you're not the only one. Trust me, this Mars retrograde, I'm a Mars in Aries, so I'm having my Mars return. That's why some of you see me really just raw right now, because it's just like, I don't have no patience. I'm stressed, and I'm acknowledging I'm stressed. And you know what, if you piss me off, that's it. Like, it's just being real, like, it's just being honest, it's being direct. And sometimes that's very it's very in your face for people. Some people don't know how to take it, because, you know, a lot of us still are in this lovey-dovey perception of reality that people always have to be loving and kind. And no, sometimes I'm just speaking how I like, let me just be, like, let me just be. Like, we need to just allow some people to be. And this, do you know why I'm saying this? It's because this is part of the problem that we create, especially when it comes to social media. Life is real, situations is real. You're not perfect all the time. You ain't happy all the time. You ain't like about it all the time. You ain't on your shit all the time. But it's hard to be honest about that in a world that expects everything to be perfect, and when it's not, is ready to judge you and ready to criticize you and ready to cancel you. It's just like the justice system, really. How can you expect rehabilitation when you're basically sending people to prison? Like, you're basically treating them like they're not human, dehumanizing them. How do you expect people to rehabilitate themselves from that? Where's the compassion? Hey Trina, this is me. I'm so used to being a strong woman and not putting my problems in anyone else's hands, but I'm tired of being so dominant and angry and strong. My femininity just can't flourish because I'm so used to protecting her. Girl, that is so real, and I feel every single part of that. That's literally how I feel sometimes. And it's interesting because this is going to sound really, really weird, me sharing this. But when I was younger, I really, really struggled when it comes to identity. Really, really struggled. I actually wanted to be a guy. I wanted to be a boy, and that ended up being a phase. But I actually went real hard. I'm not even going to say some of the stuff that I was doing, but you'd think, girl, are you okay? You really about that life? But really, if trans was a thing and you could allow back then, and you could allow children to like do them kinds of things back then, I probably would have been a trans, because I felt like being a man, being a boy, you had more protection, you had more respect, you had more acknowledgement. And so I came into this very hyper masculinized version of myself. I was doing a lot of sports. I was playing basketball. In fact, I was playing every sport, but basketball was my thing. That was actually my goal in life, actually, to move to America and play in the WNBA. That was my thing. I was also doing athletics. You know, I was doing dance, I was doing martial arts, I was, you know, all of that type of stuff. And how I would dress was like proper Yankee, like big ass tracksuit. Remember the Avirex jackets and the academics jackets and tracksuits 3 times bigger than your size? Yeah, I used to do all that shit, and that was just my everyday thing. Then I realized actually I'm very androgynous, and it got really frustrating because people kept putting me into this box of me being a lesbian. And whilst there was a point I was confused about my identity, but mainly down to my previous experiences of, you know, being exposed to certain things before my time with women. That was just my conflict of stuff that was going on fact is, I had to learn to accept that being feminine didn't mean being weak. Being feminine didn't mean someone can take advantage of you. Being feminine didn't mean that someone could put their hands on you. Didn't mean that someone could rape you. Didn't mean that because that's all the stuff that kept happening, and that's how I identified my experience. And because of my programming, especially through religion, there wasn't really much empowerment in terms of your perception of femininity and just being a woman, right? What control do you have? What boundaries do you have, right? It was a lot. So yeah, I had to learn to just allow my feminine side to flourish, but also seeing that you are actually both sides. And a lot of the times I feel like a lot of us incarnate in flip experiences. I definitely know that my last lifetime I was a man and I abused a few women, like I know that, and I'm literally now incarnating into a female body, having to learn the female experience, learn the other side, and learn to heal that aspect of myself. So it's interesting because when I look at it from that aspect, I can still have compassion for an element of my own internal masculinity that is still wanting to be reverenced and wanting to be sovereign within itself, but at the same time have reverence for the femininity that is only now beginning to be exposed and experienced. So yeah, I've learned to go within, learn to heal myself, and then teach others from what I've learned from my own healing. That is Chiron. That's the wounded healer. You learn through your own wounds, right? Chiron was actually, he trained a few mythological heroes. One of them was Hercules. So that's one of the ones that a lot of us can identify with Hercules, right? He was the centaur, the little rough guy that had all the mouth and stuff, but genuinely cared and genuinely wanted to see him go far. That was Chiron, right? And it hurt. He's just like, it's a thing where it's like, when it's mad when I started to flip the perspective into something like Hercules, because that's one of my favorite like Disney movies for some reason as a child. Like I always connected with that. But it's weird because you can see how compassionate he was towards Hercules. He genuinely wanted to see him win. And when it got to a point where it's just like, bruh, you're taking a piss. You don't value my help. Like, bruh, like, do you know who I am? Do you know what? Like, this is real. It gets really, really frustrating. And sometimes I feel that in my journey, because there's a lot of things that I see and can say to people and totally gets dismissed, and stuff ends up happening, and it's just like, well, I did tell you, but nobody listens to me. That's Chiron, right? That's Chiron energy. And so a lot of us are going to be having to face or turn the side round, and rather than be so externalized in this trying to heal everyone, now really trying to heal self right now. Peace Queen, have to catch the replay. I love you and thank you so much for sharing. I love you too. Thank you so much. Naomi, we're on the same ones in the same insane world. Wait till things really pop off. Those who really remain peaceful in the midst of chaos will be the sane ones, but seen crazy. You've seen Bird Box, right? And there's another movie as well I watched the other day. It's all of these similar things, and they've got the people with the blood coming out of their eyes and stuff, and they're blind. And for real, like, it's crazy. It's the people that were blind that will be fine because they were in the dark all the time. They're not afraid of the dark. The dark doesn't. Sorry, let me wait for this little breeze to go because I don't even know if you can hear me. They don't. Now I just lost my whole train of thought. Yeah, wasn't anything that they wasn't exposed to. And you'd think that the light would expose everything, right? Clearly not. There's still the dark. Learning to peek through the dark. Like, have you ever been, anyone who's been afraid of the dark or is afraid of the dark, I used to be more afraid of the dark when I was younger, but you know when you'll be dark and then you'll see an object that is probably like a teddy bear or something, but it appears as something else in the dark. So you get scared and you're like, shit, there's some big ass snake. That's something that used to come up a lot. You say there's some big ass snake in my room. Like some big ass snake, and it's not, it's the same teddy bear. But if I allowed myself to sit in that and actually be like, why am I perceiving this as a snake in the dark, rather than be so quick to just turn on the light. And that's what a lot of us do. We're so quick to turn on the light. As soon as some pain comes, no, get it away, I don't want to feel it no more, get it away. And I get it, it hurts, right? It really does hurt. But at some point, it's realizing that the only way out is through. So you can kick up fusses all you want. The fact of the matter is, if you want to get out, you're going to have to go through that dark. You're going to have to go through that dark tunnel and face all of why you're feeling what are you feeling, what is this popping up, right? That's why I called my book Face It, right? It's facing everything. And it's hard, it's painful. You want to run away because it doesn't feel good. But I promise you, as someone who's been trying to do this for the last few years of my own personal life, I promise you it gets easier. And this is me saying this in the midst of something that is incredibly difficult to be going through right now. Because had I not, coming out of this moon in Sagittarius progression, Sagittarius is seeing the higher perspective and seeing the higher truth and finding meaning, trying to find meaning, this quest for meaning, this quest for truth. Had I not had that energy over the last 2.5 years, probably would have lost my mind right now, because I would have been so comfortable in just this shit, right? Not motivated to get out, not motivated to explore, not motivated to expand. But I'm so grateful, like genuinely, for the perspective that I've been able to grow in over the last few years, because I did not have this perspective all along. Those people who've known me for a long time, like 10 years plus, you know I'm a completely different person. This is why I get frustrated when people try to hold me to old versions of myself that they haven't updated themselves on. Like, I'm not the same person. Like, when I speak to people, it's like, no, like, you have a voice now, like, shit. You can actually talk. You got some shit to say. You actually have opinions. Like, you stand for something. Like, I didn't have a lot of that before. I had elements, but not like this. This is more refined, just not polished. And this is why I keep saying, just allow me to evolve unapologetically, because I don't even hold myself to boxes. So if I need to shift in an area or in a perspective or in an expression or whatever, please believe me, I'm gonna shift. And if people want to say, oh, she's changed, that's your business. It's not your journey. It's not your journey. Like, I'm just trying to find what is alignment for myself. Now you find what's alignment for you. We all have our own different alignments. Even our chakras align differently. So whilst everyone wants to be on this 7 chakra red orange, yellow, whatever, all this kind of stuff. Listen, not all of our stuff align in the same places. Please believe that. We're all different. We all resonate differently, right? We all identify differently. So how is everything going to be aligned the same? And this is why I'm being really raw in the season and just really militant, and don't fucking try and shape my truth, because it's like, no, this is my microcosmic experience, and I'm standing in my own truth of that. You have your own microcosmic experience. So many other people have their own microcosmic experiences. Let them have that. Let them have that. This is what Aquarius is really about. Allowing everyone to be an individual within a collective. We don't all have to be the same. We don't have to identify the same. We don't have to express the same. We don't all have to dress the same. We don't all have to have the same relationships, same types of relationships. We are not the same. That's all I want to say. What else is coming up? Thank you, Lacey. All these ants coming all over me. Hi, Alex. Trust me, this live helped me. I'm glad this live helped you. A lot of people can't handle me because of this. I'm blunt and raw. Listen, I can't even listen. I'm ready. And the thing is, because I have a lot of tolerance, and I'm not just lashing out at people just for the sake of lashing out on people. Please believe, if I lash out, it's because it's like, listen, I've been tolerant. I've tried. All my life I had to fight. But today, listen. Today, I don't have the energy. I really don't. And it's really frustrating because I have actually expressed, there has been a lot of stuff that's been going on. So the way certain people have been coming at me has just been like, I don't know you read my post, like what is wrong with you? So now it's just like, when I tell you to fuck off, just go, like seriously, because like, allow people to have their feelings, allow people to feel how they feel. Like, don't, like, we always love to shape things up. Like, not everyone like this whole, I've been really thinking about this whole professional image. It's bullshit, and I will never ever 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 align myself into this unrealistic quote unquote professional image. It doesn't mean to say that I'm not going to be professional, whatever that means, but this professional image of I'm gonna hold back what I really want to say. I'm gonna play split personality, because really when I'm at home I talk to people like this, but online, oh hi, no, like no, like you don't run like that. And I'm a Gemini, so right now everyone's getting my raw truth. The rawest truth. Not even raw, because I thought I was raw before, but boy, this is the rawest truth. And it is what it is. And if people don't like it, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. I don't really have any fucks to give right now, because it is what it is. Like, I've lived a life of people trying to dictate, control, shape and restrict for my whole bloody life, and I'm not about to go for a whole nother cycle of that. And that doesn't mean to say that I'm going to be disrespectful. It just means to say that I'm going to be respectful to my own truth. And I just expect people to be able to respect that element of things. Like, just respect people's truth, respect it. It is what it is. As long as they're not trying to be offensive, as long as they're not trying to be like, it is what it is. And a lot of us, we talk about we're free thinkers, but when someone else has a different opinion from you, you don't want to allow their opinion to exist. So you're not really a free thinker. You just want your own free thoughts to be the only one. And this is what I mean about honesty, because that I see a lot. But everyone talks about accountability, but I don't see that being accounted for. So it is what it is. Hey, Bob as well. He's currently spending some time with my family at the moment. I get called to study or to manly. Why though? Because I'm so used to having to put up a guard to protect me, but my femininity flourishes in stable environments, and that's the truth. Listen, girl, listen, it's so real, because I mean, I've kind of toned it down towards the end side of my moon and Sag progression. Trust me, when I came in, like, I got into a lot of clashes with especially men, because I'm an intellectual, right? But when you kind of engage with certain men on that level, they feel very threatened, because it's like, hold on, who's this girl with intellect? Where's she coming from, right? And it's like, yeah, it becomes really threatening, and then you start getting attacked. I got attacked. Do you know what? I didn't even put it up, because most of the time I don't need to put these stuff up. But when was it? It was this month. Was it this month? Where we June? I think it was the end of last month, only like 3 weeks ago. I had like 3 different men come into my inbox, just literally try to drag me, bitch this, bitch that, did it? And I'm like, hold on. Did I make a post? Did I comment on your post? Did I what is wrong with you? Like, I'm confused, and I get that a lot of the time, and it's like, sometimes it's really annoying, because again, you're trying to just be yourself. You're trying to find the balance in your yin and yang. But there's certain elements of your expression that is triggering and threatens, like, them in that way. And it's like, okay, it's just really frustrating. I'm still filtering through a lot of it, but it's really, really, really frustrating. Hey, KR. Yeah, I am from Britain. I'm from the UK. As well, it's time to reach outside the country. Yeah, I connect with a lot of Americans. I have a majority of my audience, especially on YouTube. Remember, guys, you can subscribe over to my YouTube channel, because that's where I do the majority of my videos. True Self Project on YouTube. But yeah, I connect with a lot of Americans. Obviously, COVID's here. There was a lot of things I wanted to do, but obviously it kind of limits in terms of travel and stuff like that at the moment. But yeah, there's still stuff to be done. I used to have the same dream for about 5 months when I was around 5. My sister used to play for a football team, broke her foot, and she stopped playing. She put her t-shirt on the wall, and I kept seeing a man come towards me in a black dark cape. What the fuck? And we took it down. It was gone. It was mad how the mind does. Yeah, I've had elements of that as well. It's weird. I had a dream probably about 6 months straight when I was like 9 or so. Yeah, I think it was the year before we moved to this side. We moved to Pond. And I kept having this dream of this witch that kept running or chasing me around, like around where we were living at the time, like and it was just by my school. And I kept having this dream over and over again. Then I had a dream, like had that dream for 5 months, and then a year or 2 years, no, about 3 or 4 years passed, and then I kept having these dreams of my uncle in the car, and he kept like going into these weird chants and stuff, and then he came round and attacked me. Long story, that whole story is just crazy, but long story short, it got exposed around that time that I had certain family members trying to do obia on me. For those who don't know what obia is, it's basically dark magic, black magic, juju, whatever you want to call it. And found voodoo dolls, they found all of these different types of stuff with my shit there. So yeah, I was having these recurring dreams, and it's so crazy because I wasn't really aware of my power at the time. I was in a position where I wasn't around people who could cultivate my gifting. I didn't even realize I had a gifting, even though at the same age, at 9, I'm the one who had a dream that I had an older brother, an older half brother. I knew his name, I knew what he looked like. I was like, his name's Leon, he's a mixed race, It's like, who told you had a brother? It's like, I had a dream. So when I say to people, like, when it comes to intuition, like, it's really there. I also have Mercury trine Uranus as well. It's quick, like, as well as all these Scorpion and Pluto placements. But yeah, it's intense. I've learned to sow my seed from my healing and keep it moving. If they accept, fine, more will be given to them. If they choose to redirect it, I remain quiet and observe. Life has a way of reinforcing truth without much fuss. When they hit a wall, they will remember your words and nothing else will be said. Do you know what? That's what I've been holding myself to for the last few years, because I've had some real bullshit situations, and I've been like, that's really stupid. Like, really stupid. Like, this didn't really need to happen. And I just hold myself to the fact that, do you know what? If you hold yourself in your integrity, at some point, someone will just deep it and just recognize, actually, I think I overreacted here. I think I kind of misinterpreted her motives, this, whatever. Because at the end of the day, like, I genuinely, like, this is not a gas at all. I genuinely question my integrity every single interaction, like, to make sure that I am being integral. Like, do you get what I mean? And it doesn't mean to say that I'm perfect in everything. I'm not no god. I'm not no pedestal, nothing. But I just try to make sure that I'm just doing what needs to be done in each moment. Like, I'm not cheating myself of that. Like, if I need to turn around and check myself and be like, you know, what you just said to that person, that was a bit deep. You should have just toned it down a bit. I will check myself. Do you know what I mean? And those are things that you need to be able to do, like self-management, self-accountability, self-mastery. Like, if you're not doing any of those things, it's not self-mastery. If people don't like it, fuck them. Yeah, fuck you. Respectful to your own truth. Yep. And you're strong, you become a target for others to drag you, so it's cool. Yep. And I've learnt that really seriously, especially when I started my YouTube channel. Literally, that's when it really intensified. Interesting, because it also did kind of start to take place when I released my EP as well, and that was at the beginning of my Moon in Scorpio progression. See, this is what I mean. Astrology doesn't play. Like, I've been studying my progressions for the last I've been looking at progressions for a long time, but the last few days I've just spent a lot of time really studying my charts, trying to understand what the frig is going on here. Sorry guys, I really needed some moisture on my lips. But yeah, like, astrology is so real, down to the day. Like, you can track what the frig is going on. It's so scary sometimes, like, when you really, and I the last few weeks I've not allowed myself to look at my chart because I wasn't ready yet. But sometimes when you literally go and you look and you see the confirmations and you're like, shit, like, whoa, like, the universe does not lie, the shit does not lie. Now you're literally reinforcing me to own who you know you are. Thank you, sis. Yes, that's what it is. Own you. If you don't own you, someone else will, and that won't feel good. And that's what motivates me, because I've had people outside of me, whether it be family, whether it be the church, whether it be the industry, whether it be whatever, I've let them own me. And that's why I struggled so hard with me being an artist, because I struggled even how I would identify myself, because obviously I came in through the gospel road as a Christian, but my manager would at the time will tell you, like, I didn't even want to identify myself as a Christian artist or as a gospel artist. I wanted to just be identified as myself, someone who spoke about life, someone who spoke about real shit and was just sharing her journey and just was hoping to inspire other people, you know. And I really struggled, because even living in London and then moving over to Birmingham, I moved from one of the reasons why I moved out of London is because I was just like, the sound is all the same, everyone's all the same, I don't want to be inspired by the same fucking clones. Like, literally, like, it just felt like clone energy, and I just wanted to break out of that. I wanted to have I just wanted to be true in my expression. I wanted to be myself. I didn't want it to be a branch of someone else. I didn't want to be like any of that. And yeah, I may have similarities of some people, whatever, but essentially, fundamentally, I'm just myself, right? And however that expresses itself. Mama, we need to have a night of pampering, cooked food, some bud, and some deep conversation and meditation. Girl, I think I need that right now. I really do. I think I need a girls' night. I need a girls' night of pampering and spas and chat and weed and drink and all the things that make you feel nice and splendid. Genuinely, I feel I haven't had that in a long time. And I feel like for my own self-care, that's what I need. Serious, my neighbour came to my house in Tooting, put his hand through my door and said she's gonna get raped when she's older, and I was young. Weird shit used to happen to me. Trust what? There's some weird shit that goes on. Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened to my camera. Then when we left Tooting and went to Mitcham, raw, you really lived in the ends, like, because back of Mitcham is like still pond. That's when the weird shit used to happen in the house, and dream I kept having. That whole area though, that whole area is really, really dodge to me. I don't know how close you are to the common, but that whole area, it's just very dark. I went to Lanfranc, so like obviously I used to be around there, but the whole area going up into that side of Tooting, it's all dodge, even down to Lombard roundabout. That whole area is very occultic. I don't even want to spend time going into that right today, but that whole area, like, you've got the cemetery there, you've got all the parades that go up that road, like it's weird. Like they're really channeling some energies down there. London's grounds are cursed. I don't know what anyone says. Yes, it is. I call London Babylon. It's actually Babylon. It's actually the beast. It's the what do I call it? Deceptive beast. That's not even the word that I want to use, because London, or UK, or London in particular, it's a lot of manipulation, but mentally, like it's like subtle, but it's still a beast. It's still a Babylon, right? Croydon was where all the, especially Fortin Heath, was where all the gallows were back in the days. Like that's where they used to hang people, and the whole area was just very traumatic. And this is why, like, they place certain communities in certain areas. There's certain like the whole area here just feels I just feel trauma, and that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to move from London, or from specifically Croydon, because it just every time I'm here I just feel trauma, and I just don't even like it. You know, you knew that I went Lanfranc. I felt it on my chest that you went to that school. Yeah, I'm a Lanfranc girl. It was funny. No, it's That school is very interesting. But yeah, that whole area is just very dark. I just felt like the most ghastly shit would just happen around there. It just feels like one of those woodsy type areas, like that I can never really get with. But yeah, so I'm gonna jet off. I still need to go and meet my partner in a bit, but I just wanted to come live and just have a free flow conversation. Yeah, let me know your comments below if you've resonated with some of the things I said. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and remember to support the book, Face It, the Shadow Work book, 250 plus questions to help in healing the dark side of the psyche, and everything I spoke about today. All of those questions are in there in terms of being able to help in answering those questions and exploring those questions, those deep-seated questions, those deep-seated emotions, those deep-seated things that you don't even realize are even there, that you don't even realize are actually influencing you. So those are all on Amazon. Yeah, Samuel's my brother. that's my younger brother. They used to think we were twins, but he's actually 5 years younger than me. But yeah, so I'm gonna jet off, and I will see you guys on the other side.